Archery was once a required skill for Englishmen in the Middle Ages, with archery practice mandatory every single Sunday. But you might have already known that. But did you know that the first bow ever recorded was the Holmgard bow? The Holmgard bows is a series of self-bows that were found in the bogs of Northern Europe, dating from 7000 BC in the Mesolithic period. They are named after the Holmgard area of Denmark, where the first and oldest specimens were found. Yet there are some people who have dated arrowheads even further back than this. Now, I don't know how the dating process works, or how they could be positive that it was actually an arrowhead and not just a rock that looked like one, but these have been said to be 90,000 years old. Hey, so real quick, check the description for links to all these things I'm talking about, as well as links to other videos, but skip around in the chapters. I put all 50 chapters in this stinking video for you, and I probably should have put the end of the video at the beginning of the video. Anyways, just skip around, do what you need. Hopefully you enjoy. Thank you. The arrow's fletchings help stabilize its flight to prevent it from wobbling. Arrow fletchings come in many different shapes, but most common is parabolic and shield cut. Parabolic fletchings have a smooth, rounded shape, while shield cut has a more dramatic curve resembling a medieval shield. The compound bow was first developed in 1966, less than 50 years ago. 50 years ago, that's wrong. Less than 60 years ago, Hollis Wilbur Allen from Kansas City got his patent granted for the compound bow in 1969. Now today, 83% of archers in the US shoot compound. The rest is a mix of crossbows, recurves, and longbows. Horsebows, and if you want to get more niche, you can categorize them even further down. But only 11% of people report to shoot traditional archery. Was Robin Hood a real person? Well, maybe. Probably. There are many stories of this man with a lot of overlapping facts. But interestingly enough, the only fact that is consistent through all the stories is how he died. As he grew older, he became ill, and he went with little John to Kirkless Priory near Huddersfield to be treated by his aunt. But a certain Sir Roger de Doncaster persuaded her to her nephew, and she slowly bled Robin to. But with the last of his breath, he blew his horn, and little John came running in to save him. But it was just too late. Traditional Japanese archery called Kyoto emphasizes Zen-like meditation and mindfulness, often taking many years to master the mental focus required. A quiet mind is needed for the best archery, and traditional Japanese archers knew this. Traditional archers categorize different aiming methods: instinctive gap, split vision, string walking, and compound archers use sights. But I think the best aiming method is to shoot a compound instinctively. Do you think they got my sarcasm? Probably not. Try using this next time. What's that? Modern Olympic archery targets are set at a distance of 70 meters, or 229.7 feet. The first Olympic archery competition took place in 1900, making it one of the very first Olympic sports ever competed in. Robin Hood again? Yeah, Robin Hood's iconic splitting of the arrow actually might have been possible with medieval arrows, which were made from softer wood. I tried shooting a ton of wood arrows into one target in the hopes to split one, but I had no success. Hollow carbon arrows are much more likely to split. Like this one my wife split while shooting with me. I think to split a wood arrow, it's more likely to split it with some type of broadhead, especially a steel tip, than it would be to split a wood arrow with a field point. And actually, crossbands were once banned in medieval Europe by the Catholic Church because they were literally too deadly and too effective in warfare. Some modern archers compete in flight archery, a sport where the goal is to shoot the arrow as far as possible. Professional archers have to account for wind, temperature, and even air pressure, which can affect the arrow's trajectory. Medieval archers could fire up to 12 arrows per minute, requiring lots of stamina and dexterity. Just try it yourself. That's nothing considering I beat the dude perfect world record for how many arrows I could shoot accurately in 1 minute. Medieval archers' bows were pretty hard to pull back, so this required not only the dexterity to knock an arrow and shoot it, but the strength to do so. What was the draw weight of those bows? Nobody knows. But did you know women have always been a part of archery history? From ancient warriors like Queen Budidisa, Baudakia to modern Olympic champions today. Not only so, archery is one of the fastest growing sports in the country today. Don't you hate stats like that? Because you can just justify that any way you want. Like, fastest growing sport, fastest growing YouTuber, Kramer Ammons. As of 15 years ago, there were only a couple of schools that offered archery clubs and even scholarships for college archery. Now today, there's over 90 schools that'll give you a college archery scholarship and give you money to get your college degree by shooting archery, which is still a small number compared to all the schools, but it's growing, and I think that's cool. The bodkin arrowhead used in the Middle Ages was made to pierce armor, making it a fearsome weapon with archery. Now, a clout shoot is an old English archery shoot where they would put a flag way off in the distance and try to hit the flag. It is said that the famous Turkish flight bow could shoot arrows, now hold on to your horses, 800 meters, 2,624 feet, setting records in the 18th century. Archery is one of the few sports that can be adapted to people with disabilities, making it accessible to a wide range of athletes. But have you ever wondered why there are more archers who don't have arms than legs?
Here's Stutzman. He's got a chance. Yes! Oh!
Spider.
What about that from Stutzman?
And why there are more snow skiers who don't have legs than arms?
Good job from Yalet. Chatting to herself all the way down. She did that.
I think it's due to challenge. We love a good challenge. I once heard the crossbow was considered a peasant weapon because it took less skill to use. Whoever said that's a jerk. The Aztecs used bows and arrows in ritual combat, where warriors would capture but not kill their enemies. Ouch. The term brace yourself comes from the act of bracing your arm as you're going to shoot the bow while you're aiming. Brace yourself. Watch out, world! Most modern archers use some sort of release aid. This type of tool really helps with consistency when releasing the arrow. The paradox of an arrow is the phenomenon of the arrow flexing around the arrow shelf, despite the archer aiming straight upon release. Don't argue this one, I've made videos on this and still no one can agree. Maybe the obviousness of what is actually happening with nobody agreeing on it is the actual paradox. Archery targets used to be painted as animal images before the circular target became standard. Additionally, instead of painting animals on targets, we now mold them from foam, making them 3D animal targets. People shoot many different types of bows for many different purposes, so this calls for many different types of targets. I once shot 500 arrows into 12 different targets to see which one would hold up best, and the results were kind of unexpected. That was a plug for that video series. In 2016, archery became one of the very first sports to broadcast in virtual reality. That idea will get more unsubscribers than me using AI to make a video. The term nocking an arrow refers to placing the arrow against the bowstring before drawing it back and shooting it. Some modern archers shoot barebow, using no sights, no stabilizers, and no other aids, relying purely on luck to hit the target. The fictional character Legolas in the Lord of the Rings series helped revive the passion of archery by introducing it into pop culture. And that's why I made a replica of his bow. But weirdly enough, a 3-hour movie only has 2 minutes of Legolas using his bow. The first Lord of the Rings was made 22 years ago. I feel like a fossil. In ancient China, archery was one of the 6 noble arts, along with music, calligraphy, among other things. Bowstrings are now made from synthetic material, like a D97 string is made from Dyneema. A fast flight string is made from generally 652 Spectra, or some sort of blend like that. But these strings are incredibly strong, whereas traditional strings, back in the day, were made from hemp or animal sinew, which are kind of strong in their own right, but they don't quite measure up. There are 4 primary types of quivers: back quivers, worn over the shoulder, side quivers worn at the hips, bow quivers mounted directly on the bow, and ground quivers used for target shooting. Honorable mention: pocket quiver, bag quiver, quiver. Field points and broadheads are the 2 most common types of arrowheads. Field points are used for target shooting, while broadheads are designed for hunting. In traditional archery, finger tabs and gloves are used to protect the archer's fingers as they release the string. This prevents injury in the long term. You can get a lot of nerve damage if you shoot heavy poundage bows barehanded. So which one's better? Well, the one you believe is best is gonna be the best one for you. But traditionally, people who walk barefoot in the woods tend to use gloves or bare hands, and competition archers use tabs. I prefer a glove, unless I feel like using a tab. Some use gloves up to 50 pounds and tabs over 50 pounds for more protection. The stabilizer on a bow is used to stabilize the bow and reduce vibrations when the arrow is released. This can help improve accuracy. Hunting with bows is legal in most parts of the world, and roughly 11 million hunters live in the US. And even with that, number 38, target archery is more popular than bow hunting, with millions of participants worldwide, apparently more than 11. A clicker is a small device mounted on a recurve bow that clicks when you're at full draw. This signals to you when to release the arrow. It's like an audio cue. I have found this device to be completely useless in my practice. Oh, wrong side. Now, a properly tuned bow allows the arrow to leave the bow smoothly with minimal wobble, ensuring better accuracy or distance. Peep sights are often used on compound bows to help align the front sight, providing a consistent anchor point for better accuracy and consistency. And some archers even use a thumb release, which is more common in traditional Asian archery, but also mounted archery or horseback archery, things like that. Arrows used in flight archery, where the goal is to shoot the arrow as far as possible or as lightweight as possible with really tiny fletchings to help the arrow fly as far as can. I just don't want to say possible again. As far as possible, with minimal fletchings to reduce drag. Bow hunting requires different arrows than target archery. Hunting arrows are typically heavier to help with better penetration for an ethical kill. Smart people talk about something like kinetic energy or like power stuff. Archers can adjust their arrow shelf. Now, most people will think of an arrow rest like for a compound bow. Yeah, of course, you can twist the Allen key and adjust that to tune your arrows, but you can actually do this kind of with a traditional bow. You can add leather or add material to make it higher arrow shelf or to push it out. Now, most people shouldn't cut into their arrow shelf unless you're a bowyer yourself and you know exactly what you're doing, but even on traditional bows, you can insert different types of arrow shelves for different types of shooting, thus tuning your bow to your specific needs. And yes, traditional bows can have an arrow shelf, I think. Bow torque occurs when an archer grips the bow too tightly, causing the bow to twist slightly in the hand when they release the arrow. This can dramatically negatively affect accuracy. Aiming uphill or downhill requires you to compensate for the force of gravity, especially at further distances and steeper angles. But in most cases, it's only going to affect your arrow a couple inches unless you're shooting missiles with a traditional bow uphill. Then you may have to aim extra high. A grouping in archery refers to how close together the arrows land on the target. Sometimes when I'm trying to improve, I like to measure my grouping, and this helps me keep track of my consistency. Archers often shoot with both eyes open, especially when using sights. This helps people maintain a better depth perception. That wasn't supposed to be a question. This helps people maintain a better depth perception. This normally only works if your dominant eye is the one that's going through the peep sight. If you're like me, I shoot right-handed with a left eye dominant. Maybe I should switch one day, but I can't shoot with both eyes open because this eye takes over and I miss way off to the side. So even with trad archery, I generally have to squint this eye really hard so that this one doesn't take over. These facts were sourced from books and the internet and word of mouth from mice. I do not think everything I said today was true, but it's interesting food for thought. So if you've made it this far, thank you for giving me grace and allowing my sarcasm to survive another day. You are the reason I get to make videos. Thank you so much. We're coming up on 300,000 subscribers. So if you're one of the 96% of people who are unsubscribed to watch my videos, and if this is the first one you've seen, watch 2 more. And if you get through 3 videos, then maybe consider subscribing. With that, I'll catch you on the next video. Have a great day. See ya.